This episode of The Totally Rad Show is brought to you by GameFly. Coming up, one of the most anticipated games of 2011, it's time for Gears of War 3.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to The Totally Rad Show. We've got a great week. Today, we are talking about the epic release from Epic, Gears of War 3.
And we got another epic release. Tomorrow is the movie Moneyball, starring Brad Pitt.
That's not Moneyball and release or should not be in the same.
And then on Wednesday, we're talking about a TV show that premiered this past week, last week, called Person of Interest.
Correct. Very interesting. And then also we're back Monday, which I think is today. Tonight is Terra Nova, the new,
Doesn't Terra Nova...
Sorry. The new...
What's happening?
Sorry. The new TV show by Steven Spielberg, or produced by Steven Spielberg.
Yeah, and then Friday, we are wrapping it all up with some comic books. We've been talking about the big DC releases for all month, and now we got a couple of Marvel #1s that we want to hit up.
Yeah, and of course, I mean, come on.
Gears of Rad.
Gears of War 3, Gears of Rad.
Thank you for sending that in, Jay Williams. If you want to see your epic background on our show, you can send it to fans@totallyradshow.com. Our logo, if you'd like to put that in like he did over in the little corner there, you can find that on our Flickr page, flickr.com/totallyradshow.
All right, let's get into it, talking about things. That's all.
It's that time to talk about Gears of War 3. Yes, it came out last week, but we're getting to reviewing it this week. Gears of War 3, of course, the culmination of the Gears of War trilogy. This game is longer than the first two games for the single-player campaign. Also has the signature Horde mode, which we love, where you fight waves of enemies. Adds a new Beast mode, where you're playing as the Locust. Did I say that right?
Yeah.
Locust, yeah.
Locust.
Well, now they've got
You're fighting the
Lambent as well, and it gets me all messed up. So, of course, the story does involve the emulsion and the Lambent getting infected, or the infected strain of locusts that are, a threat to everybody. This is the fallout of the first two games, and it really does have a strong conclusion to the series. I won't reveal that in this review, but Daniel Trachtenberg, tell me your thoughts on this Gears of War 3. Big fans of the first two games. Who could not be? More of the same. And Alex, what do you think?
You should have kept that going. More of the same. I like Gears of War 3. Big surprise, surprise, surprise. Gorgeous game, gorgeous graphic. The people are gorgeous.
People.
A lot more people in this one. We got a whole new cast of characters. Of course, now instead of just 2-player co-op, we got 4-player co-op. And we got, we're jumping into different skins. We're not just playing Marcus and Dom the whole time.
And I played I played alone, not cooperatively.
One is the loneliest number.
It's the loneliest number. And I loved playing as Coltrane. And that's right. That's how, not whoa, whoa. It's just a woo. But it seemed like they made a concerted effort to make this a little bit more story-oriented than the other games. And there is a somewhat of a special moment as Coltrane that is very rooted in his character. That is a more dynamic gameplay experience. I love that.
Did you think it was a little cheesy?
But it was very cheesy, and
But
it's
he's
not.
cheesy.
This is not. But you know what? It worked. It was very effective, and it's very. They did just little nudges towards more story, and even the camaraderie between the guys felt like did a good job tapping into what the Aliens movies have birthed, as opposed to doing a tired job that a lot of other games do with that idea. The guns feel great. It just feels, this game never. It seemed like, that's what I was gonna say. There's less set pieces than the second Gears of War. Gears of War was set piece to set piece to set piece. This seemed less set piece oriented, and more character oriented. But also, it never stopped the momentum. I was only ever doing one thing for very little, and then I was moving on to the next thing.
I agree with you.
mean?
In fact, that's one of my minor complaints with the game is that I never felt like I was like, oh, I get to do this now, and then, oh, it's over. I'm doing something else that's really cool.
Yeah.
But I felt like it was almost short attention span.
Yeah, where the second one was like, you're on that ship, and
Yeah.
you're like, the pirate ship, even though you were in the back of a monster, whatever,
Yeah.
like you were on that for a whole chunk, and like, right? This was like, you're just doing this little tiny thing, and then you're doing this little tiny, but I kind of like that the momentum never, I would have preferred more set pieces, but in lieu of that,
Well, I
it's
think
so
what
much
you
better
were
than just
getting-
pop around and shooting.
Yeah.
It wasn't a shooting gallery, like is the problem with most other third-person
Yeah.
or first-person shooters.
Which is interesting because I think what you were actually getting were these little set piece moments that were actually one thing you had to do that then you didn't have to do again. Like
Yeah.
Right.
using the ballistas or whatever to throw and big down that big guy.
Right.
In Gears 2, that set piece would have been 20 minutes of trying to bring that guy down.
Right.
Or being on the back of him and running around and killing all those big people like it was in Gears.
And it's super cool that there's so many different kinds of things you're doing, and all of them seem to be really cool.
Yeah.
But I feel like I'm doing every different thing for such a short period of time that I kind of always left me wanting more of the thing I was just doing.
And that's
Which
the
is
one.
good, I
yeah,
guess.
yeah. I mean, look, this is a great AAA title. If you are even remotely a fan of Gears of War 1 or 2, you're gonna love this game. I had a blast playing this game. I'm gonna try to get into the, Gears 1. I got really into the multiplayer stuff.
Yeah.
Gears 2 didn't really get into the multiplayer as much. I want to go back now and sort of sit down with the multiplayer of Gears, which we aren't really talking about because I didn't. I don't know if any of you guys did, but I didn't really do any of that. But it's true. One of the gripes that I had, and they're little minor gripes, is some of the weapons are so freaking amazing, like that one shot.
Yeah.
But
I
the
love that it's called
problem
the one
is-
shot because it just
It
one-shots anything.
anything. The problem is, they give you this weapon and then they take it away. And then they give you something else to replace it, which is cool. But I always sort of pine to be like, man, I wish I could just play the whole game with just that one shot.
Well, that's a little overpowered.
Hey, they put it in the game. It's not my fault. So that was my only one little gripe, and I had the same. We were playing co-op, and it starts out feeling very messy, where I didn't feel like I was doing anything except holding on the trigger and pointing it at bad guys.
Right.
There was no sort of
Strategy,
style let's flank or any of that stuff. Whereas I feel like in the original Gears and Gears 2, there was much more of this, okay, this is not working, how do we make it work? I will go around here, you do
That's
this.
in hardcore
It started
modes.
to get there for me as the game progressed, where I really started to feel like, okay, now I'm choosing my battles, I'm being more strategic, whereas at the beginning of this game I was a little worried because I was like, man, they just changed it into just hold down the trigger and pray that you get more ammo. You know what I mean? But it did get to that point where I really enjoyed the sort of stop and pop and the doing cover and all that. I mean, it's just a great game. The thing that I found really interesting though, I was surprised at how choppy it was in the cutscenes. The
Yeah, they
gameplay
kind of
is
are
butter.
jarring to go into even.
Yeah, and they jump you around. It's
Yeah.
almost like you go, oh, we need to clear this room so we can make it through that big door to get onto the ship. And then you clear the room, and the cutscene is walking onto the ship, and you're like, I mean, I guess they did it to just compress time and stuff, but it was really jarring. And those cutscenes were quite choppy. I mean, they were gorgeous, but the gameplay was so gorgeous. I was like, well, how is it that the cutscenes are choppy? You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah, you're right that it's
And little quibbles, because it was a great game.
it's such a polished title. Other than those minor things, it really. This was supposed to come out in last April, and they held on to it. And I feel like that extra time baking in the oven, it shows. It is such a quality product, top to bottom. I did have moments where I was sitting there going, I never thought games could look this good.
Yeah,
There's an underwater level toward the end that it might be the most beautiful video game level I've ever seen. And there's tons of moments like that. And you're in so many different kinds of places over the course of the story.
Yeah.
And they all look so interesting. And there's even levels now in this one I don't think they've done before in this series where you're almost just exploring. You're not even fighting something for a while. You're just kind of wandering around and looking around. that's awesome. And the world is so chunky and weighty and full, like the Silverback, the new mech thing, which, as I said, is I think is like James Cameron's wet dream. It's like it feels so chunky and just real, and every little parts are moving. It's awesome. I love the design of this world.
Yeah,
it's really fun, and there's so much to like. There's these new like grappling hook moments. There's my favorite thing about the entire game, I think, is how the Lambent now get catapulted out of the ground.
Yeah.
That was the moment where I was like,
that.
this needs to be a movie.
Yeah.
That moment right there, I was like, this is the moment where I want to see a Gears film, because I could see that on screen, like, so awesome.
That reminded me of one of the scariest moments of a movie for me, and this is going to be an odd pull, but Ridley Scott's Legend. There's a moment where the green from the swamp lady, do you remember it? She comes out of the water, and she's like on it, Jack, and she's on his thing, you don't remember? But out of the water, spray of water, and it's frightening. It's frightening. It's a great
on
moment.
the battlefield, and I love how the game is like open areas and outdoor, and we're above ground. There's so little of the Gears universe had been above ground up to this point.
I also loved at the beginning where you play through this sort of moment talking to Cole, and then you literally, the next level is playing Cole and his team's whole side of that. That was really smart.
They do a really great job with the story. I think it tells an interesting tale. You're moving through place to place, and you know why, and it's grounded in people and solid needs, and it's not too sci-fi-y, unnecessarily obtuse. And there's a really cool moment that's a great callback of the Mad World song. I don't know if you guys saw that part.
No.
But it's beautiful and cool. Yeah.
Wow.
There's a ton of stuff to like about the game. It's a wonderful package. I don't know if you guys got any time on the new Beast mode, but it's super cool that you play as the Horde and you're like fighting against the clock, and you're trying to like attack the hero guys, and you have to. It's great. There's just so much here. I love the new leveling system that they've got in the
Did you guys
multiplayer.
when you played co-op?
So many unlocks.
Did you play the arcade version?
No, we didn't. I really want to go back.
Why
and play
did you not? I would have thought that
we didn't even think about it.
Yeah,
we just
I
was like,
jumped in, but which adds like competitive point scoring and stuff to
like
the
COD,
co-op.
like XP, like you would just
boy.
be scoring points.
Yeah, it's super.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so much there, and I love like all the little medals that you can unlock, and there's just
it's a big game.
You know already. I'm sure you're playing it. There's very little not to like. My only major gripe is, why do we need another game with zombies? Yes, they're interesting zombies. Yes, they are visually the most kind of cool-looking zombies I've ever seen. But they're basically zombies. Spoiler, kind of. But they're just humans that run at you. And we don't need to have every game of a zombie type. It just gets so tired to me.
Yeah.
But again, minor gripe for a very long, interesting single-player game.
Yeah.
Awesome multiplayer.
You did say it was a major gripe, but
It's all right. It's a major minor.
It's a major minor.
It's like a minor third. It's a minor third.
Yeah.
it's a black key.
All right, everybody, be sure to stick around for this day in Rad history. But first, we want to thank our sponsor, Jeff Kanata.
I want to tell you about a paradox. I want to tell you about the world's largest online video game rental service that's named after something very small. A fly.
It's very paradoxical.
Large fly.
Bam.
Bam.
Gamefly. You can choose from over 7,000 new and classic video game titles. Let me tell you why this is something you might be interested in, folks. Video games are expensive. Gamefly is only $15.95 a month, so you get a subscription. You can play as many video games as you can cram through your eyeballs into your fingertips by paying one low monthly fee. You just keep getting them. They keep sending them to you. You keep sending them back. There's no late fees. There's no due dates. Shipping is always free. When you're done playing a game, you just send it back. But you know what?
What?
I like my game collection. I want it to grow. I want to be able to pick out the best of the best, add it to my collection. Guess what? Gamefly has you covered there too, because if you like a game, you just simply click keep it, and when they send you the manual and the box, you pay a reduced fee because you're already paying that monthly fee.
Yeah.
TRS fans get a 15-day free trial when they go to gamefly.com/TTRS. There is no risk.
No risk.
It is awesome.
Booyah.
Gamefly.
Gamefly.
Big, tiny.
Big, tiny. All right, people. We will see you tomorrow. It's banana in English.
Don't miss tomorrow's show for our review of the movie Moneyball.
Today is September 26th, and on this day in rad history, back in 1990, the MPAA creates the NC-17 rating, and people look for more boobies in movies.
That's right.
NC-17, I remember, did you remember the first NC-17 movie you ever saw?
That I ever saw?
Yeah.
I don't know if Kids was just not rated or NC-17, but
Wasn't
I
The
think it was
Cook, the Thief,
NC-17.
His Wife, and Her Lover in NC-17? I
Yes.
think that was my first one.
Yes, me too. I got that at Errol's, and I was like, oh, this has got to be amazing. It's NC-17. And I got in there, I was able to do it, watch it, and I was like, what the am I watching?
It is
not a sexy movie.
Well, if you think
There's some of
eating
that in
people is
there.
sexy.
No, it's like, whoa, weird.
Yeah.
But anyway, thank you, at Quinn George.